A very, very warm good evening. This is Arunfoot Chaudhary. You are on my YouTube channel, Arunfoot. It is May the 21st, 2025, and another show on Indian football, another Indian football discussion on my channel where we talk the national team, the calendar of Indian football, what's all happening elsewhere, maybe a little bit also about tonight's UEFA Europa League final between Man United and Tottenham Hotspur in Bilbao, as well as other things. And at the start, of course, those of you who might be watching maybe later on, if you like this video, leave a like behind. Share with others if you think that you can share it with others. And if you're new, liking the conversation, do leave a subscription behind. We're at 2,562. And let's keep on growing the community. And if you're new to these discussions, maybe try and take off time in the evenings to join us in these conversations. Ask your questions and I'll try and answer them as honestly and as well as I can to try and chat with you, speak to you about Indian football, but also to watch the shorter content that I try to make on a regular basis, nearly on a daily basis. Did something today on Naushad Musa being appointed India under 23 head coach, had done something yesterday about India being back in training. Before that, of course, my appreciation, sort of say, of the fans in Arunachal Pradesh with the support that they impressed me. OCI cardholders is a topic and other things. So therefore, thank you. So let's see what happens. Amit Shaw says hashtag OCI. Amit, at the moment, no update on that topic. I know a lot of people are talking about things. Even I today asked a question on it, or rather made an observation about it on Twitter, where I said, interesting to see everyone having an opinion on OCI inclusion in the Indian football system, but don't seem to realize that a lot of work wouldn't have to be done to make it a reality, and further, what kind of positive effect it can have on football in India overall. So therefore, that's me sort of asking a question on one side, but also making a realization that this OCI topic seems to be interesting a lot of people, but there are some hard positions on both the sides. On one side, there are people who say clearly, you know what, we need to do it, like myself, we need to do this. We should have done this decades back. And on the other side, people, nationality, or are they really Indians, and all that kind of stuff, which I these kind of discussions I really detest. So therefore, let's wait and see what happens. Hi, Shanulta. First question: your prediction for Europa League final? Boy, if can anybody predict tonight's final? Is there a favorite amongst those two teams after the performances of the last few weeks and months of Man United and Tottenham? I think nobody can predict this final. It's whoever is better on the day is most probably going to win it. But it's also a big game. It's like the biggest. It's even bigger now than the final playoff spot in the Championship between Sheffield United and Sunderland, because so therefore for me, United normally turn up for these kind of matches. Tottenham are chokers. That would be the normal events of not of, but in football, I guess. But on the other side, to me, who knows? Maybe Tottenham is gonna get a trophy for the first time since 2008. We'll have to wait and see. But I think nobody can predict tonight's final. I think that's that's mostly one of the most difficult things in world football. So let's see. Do you think if India have a window will change, a good window, Manolo will change his mind? Sterling, Manolo was very clear about wanting to not continue with the AIFF and wanting to go back to club football. I think that's the main point in this whole discussion in regard to Manolo, that Manolo Marquez wants to stay with the national team, and not stay with the national team, but rather go back to maybe coach FC Goa and coach a club side, and So therefore, for me, I'm not sure. It's an interesting thing. I think there will have been conversations between Manolo, so to me, I don't know. Let's see what happens. Good evening, Kieran Rea. Welcome back. Kalyan Chaubey ate some drugs. His face was like a thief, and his problem was becomes because of food. Development money of India for doing time pass becoming stadium. Shanata, to me, if you like Kalyan Chaubey or not, and this not only applies for Kalyan, but applies to other people as well, give them a basic level of respect, right? This is, you normally ask very interesting questions, have nice observation points. Don't go down that route. And Kalyan Chaubey, at his age, ex-footballer, I think is still fit. And I will actually make a video tomorrow about it, because I'm a little surprised that people are surprised that Kalyan Chaubey actually put his boots on and went onto a football field. So therefore, for me, this whole thing of what he's done, what he's not done, anything that you've said, can you prove anything of that? That's very simple. So therefore, be very, very careful. When he uses AIFF credit cards for Nike shoes and spa treatment, that says a lot about the man. But Sterling, that wasn't him. Wasn't it the treasurer who did that? Just asking. Again, guys, be very, very clear. When you put this out, that you know the facts. I know, I'd always tell you that, right? There's a lot of people talking about a lot of things that they don't know. You could challenge 99% of people who actually post on social media stuff. Can they prove things? Do they know those things? So therefore, before making such points, Ranlata, as well as to you, Sterling, guys, be careful in what you're saying. And theoretically, if you put this out in a social media post, you could be taken to court for that, because you've made allegations and you can't prove it, right? So therefore, small little thing. I've always said, let's respect things. Let's be respectable to people, even if we don't agree with them on other points. But a basic decorum, I think, is very, very important. Did you try to become a coach while in Germany, or you prefer to work behind the scene like a club administrator? Well, I've never gone for coaching license courses or anything. I've helped out here and there with coaching here and there, but never have done it. I mean, if I see, for example, here Shubroto standing over there, I remember 2002 when we had the under-17s here in Germany. The team at the time didn't have a goalkeeping coach, so it was me and Chris who was working with Shubroto and Shubhashish Roy Chaudhary at the time. Working with the keepers, and we were anything but goalkeepers, but we were training with those two guys. So therefore, I've done my stuff. As you say, I'm behind the scenes. I'm not really a club administrator. I'm more of a management person, more of a, as I say, consultant and advisor, because I don't want to be bogged down by the day-to-day stuff. Because for me, it's more, try to work on something, build something in the mid to long term, and not get bogged down by the day-to-day stuff. Some are neutral for the Europa League final, but want a famous club like Man United to win after struggles, and also Tottenham because they're having Son Heung-min is in that team and he's Asian striker. So both teams. I think that says it all, right? But it also shows that over the last few years, the teams coming down from the Champions League to the Europa League, if you see the Europa League clubs going down to the Conference League, without those clubs coming down, the level of competition is much, much lower, and it enables teams who've not had two good seasons with a good match here and there, or not even with a good match. Again, Tottenham should have never beaten Eintracht Frankfurt in the quarters. That blame goes to Eintracht Frankfurt of not beating them. So that's, let's see. Ajay Matthews play for India, you become next year 3. Okay, Anand, I don't know who Ajay Matthews is. Sorry, sir, I gave respect to all people, but I think Chobe has done nothing to be given respect. So I'm saying that if he had been for, I would have respected him like Chetri. It is not, Swanata, you don't give respect uh, 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 to a person because of what he's done or not done. That is on a different level. And he's not developed in football, he's very right, but he's been part of the system in the past. He's been a player. Uh, uh, so therefore, for me, yeah, everyone deserves a little bit of respect. And you guys make allegations. I don't make those. When I say something, I know the facts. Either I was in the room myself or I know I got the info from a trusted person. You guys make allegations against people without knowing the facts. That is my simple point to you, right? And if you put it out on social media, you could be attacked for it. Hey, Anurag, did you see Spurs winning it today? Anurag, I said it at the start. I think nobody can say who's going to win tonight. And, so yeah. Hey, Abhijit, do you see Kalyan's Asian Games push? Abhijit, it's not an Asian Games push from Kalyan or whatever. The AIFF discussed with Manolo, Marquez the opportunities in regard to the India under 23s. Manolo wants and yeah, and to me, if they do it right, if they don't do it like 2 years ago and you end in the mess that we ended up in September, October 2023 with Sunil, Gurpreet, and Sandesh being called up, I think it would be a good move for India to play the Asian Games. Why not? But to the right kids, to the right boys. Don't give that exposure to the experienced guys. Keep it under 23. That makes more sense. Do you think certain states can come up with Tom Byer's idea of developing talent that focuses on football starts at home, basically? Paul Musgrave? No. Because who has the capabilities of doing that at home? Right? That's the point. You said in-government wants money if pay owners means to pay taxes. No, it wasn't about taxes. It was, see, taxes, indirect taxes, everyone pays, right? But things, so for me, it's about how we utilize our non-resident population. Hey, Roshan, I saw that Klopp rumor about AS Roma was not true, but if it would have been true, should he have paused his job at Red Bull? Roshan, the question is simple. There's a simple question. Does Jurgen Klopp want to play or not play, coach or not coach a team? And I think Jurgen Klopp was very, very clear on that point that for him, it is better not to be a coach. I think Jurgen Klopp has been very, very clear about that, right? So for me, on that perspective, I think Klopp has said that the assignment at Red Bull is a very, very interesting one because unlike in the last few years, some of the clubs, RB Leipzig is struggling. Salzburg, for the first time in years, is really, really struggling. And therefore, so he's got a task on. They are integrating Paris FC. They're integrating the team in Japan. They want to work and bring up the team in Brazil as well. So the network that they had of 4 clubs in Leipzig, in Salzburg, in US, and in Brazil suddenly has a Paris angle, has a angle in Japan. Leeds United also promoted. Also, they have a stake in that as well. So therefore, that's going to be an interesting thing to see what Jurgen Klopp actually factually does. So therefore, yeah, it will be very, very interesting to see. Ajay Mathis was Indian origin. He is, sorry. Ajay Mathis is Indian origin. He's 18 years old. Scored 6 goals, 3 assists in the Championship League. Yeah, Anand, I just checked that interesting fact. Via his mother, he is of Indian descent, and he's represented England at under 17, under 18 level, and joined Millwall Football Club in the winter. Yeah, maybe another interesting one to keep track of. Predict Manolo even job after this FIFA window. Abhijit, that's what he said. That is what Manolo has said. And sorry, that's Manolo supposedly has said. Let's put it this way. It's not been confirmed. I don't know if the AIFF and Manolo, has kept it under wraps. And let's see what happens now. We'll have to wait and see if Manolo stays or if Manolo leaves. Hey, Ochut, I'm good. How are you? What do you think is a general reason for Man U's downfall? Is it just the team? Is it club as well? Ochut, it is the whole club. I think the big problem for Man United was, like other teams who've been successful for a certain period of time, that that sometimes there is a break, and then you can't get back to that level you were before. Look at Liverpool. Long time they weren't as successful as they were in the past. Look at Arsenal after Arsene Wenger left. Interesting to see what happens to Man City now. But United has structural problems with the Glazers, of course, investing, coming in. And they thought Sir Jim Ratcliffe is going to be the savior and change things and blah, blah, whatever. But to me, United have actually done financially quite well. But on the field, they've been struggling for years. And we're talking about big names who failed, David Moyes. We had Jose Mourinho. We had Ten Hag. We had Ralf Rangnick. Amorim, who's now come in, right? Amorim has literally been destroyed in his few months at Man United, right? I mean, Man United is mostly considering of replacing him. So, yeah, it's the club is literally eating up coaches, and let's see who's going to be able to change it. Players coming and failing and going elsewhere. Look at Anthony, right? Disaster at United. Look at how he's playing at Betis. So, yeah, that's football. Sir Vigatus DM, my first question in German language. Hope you have written it correctly, or else please correct statement if it's. Vigatus Dia is very personal because we have the correct form or the official form, and Sir is something which we don't. If you're using Sir, you have to Vigatus Ihnen. You have to use it that way. Yes, I was talking about Jürgen's miss against Germany in the 2014 finals. Abhijit, it happens. Again, Manuel Neuer in front of you. I think a lot of players get scared. And yeah, I don't want to miss that night. Your views about Ancelotti as Brazil coach. Uchut will be very, very interesting because he knows some of the players from Real Madrid. So he's not going totally blind into this. But it's going to be a very interesting thing of how Ancelotti forms this lot into a proper team. I think that's going to be his challenge. Not easy, but Ancelotti is an experienced coach. He knows his football. And it'll be interesting to see what he does. Your prediction for UCL final. Uchut, I would put PSG a little ahead of Inter. And so, yeah, I'll take it at that. According to me, says the most underrated Serie A is the most underrated league in Europe. You see AC Milan, Inter Milan, Juventus return the past glory in the immediate future. I don't watch Serie A enough. I just watch a few highlights once in a while. And to me, Napoli's come up, and then you've got Atalanta Bergamo, who's been doing well in the last few seasons. You've got Bologna suddenly in the mix. So therefore, yeah, Inter's in the Champions League final, I think, but they blew the title. So let's see. Shanlata says, I hope on July 3rd I get the news of women's football having qualified for Asia Cup after I've started watching Indian football, waiting for first and watching many cup qualifying. Let's see. It's the hope, but not sure. Is it because of tight competition at the top that most of us boys struggle to get in the Premier League? Yeah, that's competition. Surely is one of the biggest things. Yeah. So yeah, let's wait and see what happens. You may not agree, but seeing a realistic possibility of government allowing PIOs as maintaining PR is an important issue for this country, and they want to be seen as CCP of India. Okay. This is not a PR issue. This is an issue which involves a lot of work. And that's the question, if they're going to do the work that is needed. And therefore, that's the question that I would have for you is, are they going to be willing? Are they going to be in a position to do what is needed to really change the whole situation at the political level, at the bureaucracy level, to enable? So that's going to be the question for the for the government of India on the OCI front. So let's see what they're going to do or not do. I hope they're going to do it. Right, more than 22 minutes. Quick reminder, those of you who are watching, if you're liking the conversation, if you're liking what we're talking about, behind 11 likes so far. Share with other people to potentially join our conversation so more people can be part of our conversations. Do leave a subscription behind if you're new to the channel. Subscribe. And if you're new to the channel, ask your questions and I'll try and answer your questions as well as I can do. And do watch the shorter videos. I did something today. Naushad Musa appointed India under 23s and what it means sort of in preparation for the Asian Games next year. Yesterday, India back in training. Arunachal Pradesh fans before that. OCI card holders, how can they play for India? Interesting one. Generally, some other things. There's some interesting one. Even if you scroll down, a lot of interesting ones to look and talk about. Hey, Bing Bong, just finished watching the finals of ASEAN Club Championship. Final was entertaining. Don't expect SAF to pull off anything like this soon. Bing Bong, yesterday, I was talking about it, that when we talk about SAF and we talk about, that SAF has never been able to organize its SAF Club Championship. And the biggest obstruction has always come from India, right? So that's the reality. Let's see whenever they host it. Who is India Youth 23 coach? Mank, Naushad Musa, who did the stint last year, has been given the role again. It seems like Khalid Jamil declined the role. If you want to know more about it, I did a video today about it. Watch that video. It gives you a good explanation. So that is it. International team, we need North Indian defender in midfield, Northeast and Maharashtra, mixing strikers, South India, and I believe so. Okay. I think that I've heard these things that you do sort of regionalize your development. Doesn't work to me. So we're going to face tough teams and qualifiers in months. Hong Kong, which is recently with highest jump in FIFA ranking, Singapore, which qualified for ASEAN semis, both hardcore teams. Ranlata, yes and no. Always remember that in the ASEAN competitions, these teams do better than when they play Asian competitions. So therefore, that's the thing. Abhijit, I'm not going to talk about the Second World War stuff here on this channel. Let's keep it to football. When OCI player comes Ranger, I don't know. It depends on the government. Yeah. Sir, being in Germany, you can easily cover German or other European football content but still give priority in football despite the worst. It shows your commitment towards this country. Salute. Thanks, Jonathan. Yeah, I could do German football or European. I would love to do more of German football actually. But is there really an interest in it? So therefore, there are. And I've been doing this on Indian football. So therefore, let's wait and see. Do you think OCI player will come? The players will come, Ranger. The players will come. There are enough players who are interested to play for India. The question is, when will the government make the changes necessary? Right? That's the whole discussion about this topic. It's not about if players XYZ would like to come or not. I know enough players who would love to play for India, but it's for the government to make the changes, the necessary changes for players of origin to be able to represent India. Incompetent administration running AIFF, the way Indian football calendar 2025-26 season came out, even a layman can tell. We will show our frustrations in social media and nothing will change. I don't know why AIFF can't take the examples of foreign football leagues, the way they're organizing for a whole season, World Cup, Super Cup, Federation Cup, AFC competition in the mix. SB Sports Extremes, there are reasons behind certain things that the AIFF organizes in a certain way. If you remember, last season the AIFF said they wanted to host either the Federation Cup or the Super Cup, like let's say an FA Cup or a German DFB Pokal or the Copa del Rey. Then they realized they had a financial issue, which is at the end of the day the whole problem of the AIFF. Now they're saying, I'm very confused with this current season layout that they have. Now they're saying they're going to do the Duran Cup, okay, which is clean preseason. They'll do Super Cup and some Federation Cup or Super Cup, Federation Cup, Super Cup. I'm a little confused about this whole thing. Why? And by doing this, they're forgetting that, oh, listen, September, you've got the FIFA window. Oh, you've got the under-23 Asian Cup qualifiers. Oh, and then you've got the AFC competitions as well, the first match day. So, yeah, that's the problem of organizing this. Good evening, Ishan. Yes, all are good. What kind of Visakhapatnam is northern USA? Some people live in that world. I don't know why AIFF can't take the example. We've spoken about it just now. Again, SB Sports Extremes, there are certain limitations with the AIFF, and they have to also keep a lot of people happy. That's the other thing also, that there are certain state compulsions, for example, the Indian Army. So the Duran Cup is something that they wanted to push around, and I think the Duran Cup wants to hold it in that kind of time. Indian football had the best coach in history, which was Sir Rahim, which led us to Asian Games victory, or else we never had good form. 23 was just a luck for us. It shows how necessary is good coach. Yeah, it's one of the, again, vast to compare. To compare coaches over the times is very difficult. I don't know how good, how bad was he. I couldn't say how good or bad were the coaches in the 60s, 70s, 80s, or even in the 90s. I can just talk about the people that I have interacted and worked with. Why Indian football not bridging the quality gap instead it's getting bigger? Because we're not doing the basics now. Because if you don't do the basics right, we're not, that's the point. Is it a coaching issue that Indian kids treat football like a grenade, like literally kicking rather than keeping it? Maybe a hard explanation from you. But I would say yes. I think coaching is an important aspect in how you teach the kids to play football. Are the weather and cost of living the two main reasons why players prefer Spain over Germany for football development? Ishan, in Germany, we don't have those kind of programs that you have in Spain. I think that's the main reason. Weather is an added bonus. I don't think weather is an issue because players also, for example, train in Poland or in Scandinavia. Cost of living certainly is a topic. Spain is much, much cheaper than Germany. Yeah, that I would say. No promising signs of Indian football rising. All right, always keep the hope. Why Pakistan failed, but Bangladesh off to a flying start with their PIOs? Pakistan is richer than Bangladesh, right? His love for football is more than Bangladesh was a close-knit country compared to Pakistan. See, Abhijit, what is Bangladesh or not? If richer, poorer, those are not factors. If rich and poor were factors, then India and China would be playing World Cups, right? So those, to just think that way makes no sense. Bangladesh has worked because Bangladesh has a football system. Despite all their problems, but Bangladesh has had a football system, has a football system. And Hamza Chaudhry has come into a working team. Cabrera has been building that squad as well as a coach. And the Pakistan football system has been broken for years. So that, I think, is the more important, that the PFF has not been functional, that the local players are not settled. A lot of them now play in Afghanistan. Just think about it. Pakistani football players playing in Afghanistan. That's the reality of things. So therefore, yeah, that's going to be what I think. People should really try to understand why Japan, Korea are so damn good in football despite of their height. And we have Manveer, Bose, Dipendu who are tall but potato on a stick. Potato on a stick, Akash, doesn't need to be something. Manveer Singh is certainly not a potato on a stick. It's about the package. As you say, height is not the issue. Messi is not tall. Iniesta or Xavi weren't tall. Lamine Yamal isn't that tall. So it's about how good you are as a footballer. It's our players. If our players were dedicated, Manolo is a type of coach which is very good. Shannata, I think that is can be seen like that, but Manolo himself needs to be clear where he wants to go with the team, right? So to me, I have a feeling that Manolo himself needs to be a little bit clearer where he wants to take this team, where he can take this team, and and try and build something. Can we say Olympics is the place where best athletes compete? Murali, in a lot of sports, yes. Some sports, for example, boxing, the pros don't fight, right? It's an amateur, so therefore the best boxers don't take part in Olympics. Is the quality level of junior, sub-junior leagues improving or not? No, it's not improving. At least to me, the little that I see, the less I see, the better I see. Whether hide everything is illogical. Look at Western Africa, Central African nations, Brazil, Mexico, whether still best place to find top players. That's why, Akash, if we want to find reasons of why our players are not good, we find X number. If we want, we find X number of reasons. So for me, if we want to give reasons why this can't happen, that can't, then people say, oh, genetics, we're not genetically good. Oh, we don't have good grounds. Oh, we don't have this. Oh, we don't have that. We can go on and on and on and on and on and talk about those things, or really focus and try and say, listen, what are the things that we can change? I think that our sporting infrastructure, despite all its problems, isn't as bad as people make it to be. First thing, to me, very important. And then the second thing to me, which is very important, is how do we build our football in a way that we can be more successful? And it starts at the top on one side, but it also goes down to the academies, to the clubs, who are part, the state associations, all of them are part of it. To always put the blame on the AIFF is very, very simple, in my opinion. But the blame is not always on the AIFF. The blame is on everyone is involved. So therefore, that's something which you need to keep in mind. Sir, a confusion of thought too. Do you think that Indian majority audience is not interested in other sports except cricket? Even if we do better in other sports, we think we are fixed. That's a good question. Indian sports fans go after success, right? If India were ever to play a football World Cup, ever in our lifetimes, if India play a football World Cup, it would be an insane support that the Indian national team would get, right? So therefore, but there are other sports. Hockey, good example. Hockey, we are as successful, if not even more successful than in cricket, but hockey doesn't have the support that a lot of people think it should have. So therefore, to me, it is not about the success of football or not. It's rather the failures of the other sports, and therefore, I think that's the point that we need to look at. How do you see Thailand game panning out? Physicality in our favor, quality in the final third is 2-5-4. Abhijit, the question is, how does Manolo approach the game? Is he going to try out things, or is he going to play his first 11? So therefore, that's we can theoretically have a huge conversation on this, but practically can't, because we don't know who Manolo is going to put on the field. So everyone who's discussing this is going into this discussion blindly, because Manolo might, as I say, might test his best, or might say, you know what, I need to try out XYZ. Let me see. Who pays for maintains the Center of Excellence in Kolkata? Ishan, the AIFF. It's an AIFF property. Why do viewers rate Manveer so low, but coaches and fellow players rate him high? Because Pranjal, people don't know how much of the work he puts in, how much effort he puts in. It's easy for a fan to, that's why I always say it's easy for fans to criticize. I remember we had a lot of discussions 2 years ago about Rahul Beke. 2 years ago, I used to defend, and they used to be called Lord Beke, this, that, everything. A lot of things used to be said. Now I think nobody questions Rahul Beke anymore, do they? Yeah. So therefore, for me, the judgment, I always say, fans can judge players. Sumit Pasi was an example, right? Or Hulichand Nazari. Under Stephen, people didn't like the players. But Stephen wanted those kind of players who will fight, who will give everything for the country, right? Exactly that is missing. And that's what Manveer gives you. Manveer is not technically the most gifted player. He knows that himself, most probably. So, yeah. Hi, Stephen. Welcome back. Were Jordan national team was so good like this in the earlier times, or is it the golden generation of what you think? They've never been as good as they are now. So is it the golden generation? Maybe they can now produce better quality players. We'll have to wait and see. What can AIFF do to increase their budget so that they can organize longer and sustainable leagues? AIFF can't do anything at the moment, because the marketing partner that they had, or still have, rather, I should rather say, there needs to be bigger interest in football. Shamla says, most probably Al Nassr can play in the tier in which our clubs are playing ACE2 because of relegation. But if Ronaldo goes to another club, we could not see him in ACE2, but it would be pride. Shanlata, do you want Mohun Bagan or FC Goa to face Al Nassr? So, I don't know. Again, it's like this whole Argentina discussion, right? It was when Mumbai City was supposed to play Neymar and Al Hilal 2 seasons ago. Mumbai City changed and said, listen, we're going to play a DY partner, right? So, not sure where this whole thing needs to go. I think that our national team players are not giving their best. Take any game for Stephen. Yeah, we were found wanting technically, but never in terms of effort or passion. That is the question, Ishan. Are they not giving their best, or are they not capable of giving more at the moment? With some, I have the point that I think they're not able to give more. We are overestimating, or some at least overestimating the capabilities. Right? India's so damn big to afford multiple sports like US. Akash, it doesn't matter how big or how small you are. India can easily afford multiple sports. If 10% of the money that goes to cricket went into football, we are talking in thousands of crores. Football would be sorted. So I don't think that is the problem in there. Well, now we can agree footballing infrastructure has improved in India since 20 years, but players are not improved. Is the major reason lack of quality coaches at youth level? Yeah. Stephen, I repeat again what I like to say. Grassroots, youth football, coaches, competitions, scouting. These are the 5 things. If you can get those 5 things sorted, over a certain period of time, you'll produce better quality players. And this is where we are struggling at the moment massively. I personally don't see any logic behind Olympics being an event where to have to organize all the, or at least most of the events. Olympics should be reserved for lesser known sports, no football, etc. Okay, Abhijit, why? I don't know why you would say that. Football has been part of the Olympics. Olympics is supposed to be, a potpourri of sports from. So yeah. So when you say to me that's a nice question, become motivated to ask more good questions. Yeah, advice from you. Thanks. Welcome. Again, if I can motivate you, not only you but all of you to try and ask questions and let's have the conversation. Why not? If our national team does well, then we will get the support, and that will trickle down to the leagues, which are also longer than IPL. Bing bong, that is something which I think a lot of people thought in 2023. India won 3 tournaments. Igor made a lot of hype about it. This, that, everything. When the ISL started, was the support bigger? I don't know. Oh yes, Nazari was one of the best players who lost in time. Yes, yeah, didn't play, anything last season. Oh, now, sir, we channel members have utmost duty to grow this channel to maximum so more people can come and ask sensible questions, gain more knowledge, and it's very informative channel. Thanks, Shanlata. Yeah, it is on you and everybody. As you correctly say, it's again, I try my little bits, but I need your support to, for support. Again, as I said, 17 likes so far. Share it with other people, and those of you who might be new watching, liking the conversation, do leave a subscription behind. Let's keep on, as I say, growing the channel, growing the community, and getting more people involved so that we can hope for better times in Indian football. I think Bruno Fernandes at United is also a major example. Fans and rivals and pundits don't rate him, but all United coaches rated him. Yeah, good example, right? There are many examples of like this. People who complain about infrastructure when compare with South America are better. Is it? It is the package. As I said, it's if you look at infrastructure, let's say Qatar, China. Qatar most probably has better sporting infrastructure than Germany in some fields, some areas. Aspire as a one location for all sports is most probably one of the best, if not the best, in the world. Are the Qataris winning in every sport? No, they're not. So sporting infrastructure is one of the things, and the Qataris are spending on coaches, right? They're trying to bring the best coaches. So to me, these are things that we need to keep in mind. That even if you're a good footballer, and you learn to play on a bad pitch, on a bad field, on an uneven pitch, an even pitch, quality boots, a good ball, it'll be easier for you, right? So I personally think that ministers should be appointed through a proper education, skills, and on basis of that is not on basis of crime politics, which is destroying our system. Shanlata, politicians and appointment as ministers, I think, is a global phenomenon. No company would appoint people that the way that you appoint politicians to ministries. It's a global thing, right? It's you're not picking an expert for XYZ post. That's the problem. Top 5 OCIs can make us do wonders in AFC Asian Cup. Akash, my first thing is if I get top 5 OCIs to play for us, we will first of all ensure that we qualify for the Asian Cup. And then what happens at the Asian Cup, we'll have to see. It's a sad reality that only very few members join a live stream of Indian Football Talk. I hope this improves in future, and especially this channel becomes a proper big community feature. Thanks, Shanlata, once again for this support of yours, not only yours, but all of yours. As I also say, there are started a while back memberships, and let's was thinking of creating a WhatsApp group to interact with you people. If you want to do that, we can more than welcome to that. Let's keep on, as I say, let's keep on growing, and let's hope we can get there. If OCI player wins a major league in Europe or wins a Champions League, the pressure to play OCI players in the national team will increase. Not sure if you have really serious or it's election scheming. Stephen, it hasn't nothing to do with the AIFF. This is now on the government. This is a government raised topic, not AIFF. So therefore, I think we need to make that huge distinction, in my opinion, that we always love to talk about the AIFF this, the AIFF that, but in this case, for once, it's not on the AIFF, so therefore for me, let's see where we go. Inter Miami have not won in the last 7 matches, which also happens to the best, right? Javi Mascherano and Inter Miami struggling even with the Lionel Messi in there, didn't win Champions League and other things, so therefore happens. Do you think people run before starting to walk? Like even if OCIs come, they need a decent time to adapt, and the results will take some time to come. So patience required. Then there are two sides of that coin, right? In regard to patience, if you ask me, and if you ask me on that front, because to me, on one side, it could be let's say it's a Hamza Chaudhary situation, that there's a player who comes in and takes charge of the team and makes the team directly better, and good example. I look at Pakistan, where we've had quite a number of players playing in the men's national team, but this, and Stephen, of course, got them to qualify for the next round of the Asian Cup qualifiers for the first time. So that's, in the sense, a jump, but they haven't done that big jump, right, that they thought they could do. So therefore, for us, our level is higher. So the quality of our players is better than that of Pakistan. I would hope that is better of Bangladesh as well. But then we would have to say the influence of Hamza Chaudhary has been big. But we've got X number of Hamza Chaudharys in the sense of championship level players. So therefore, for us, if we get a Danny, get a Dylan, get a Jan, get a Shan, just to name 4 of them, that'd be interesting to see. Sir, I think if I remember on it right, on May, May, I first joined your stream, which was also my birthday, what a special day. Oh, Manolo, belated congratulations to your birthday nearly 3 weeks ago once again, and thank you for joining in. And that's it again. It makes me happy, and it makes it more enjoyable to come to do this stream. If someone like you says what you're saying, I thank you very, very much for that, because it motivates me to do these lives, to get into these interactions. So therefore, for me, hearing that touches my heart. Thank you very much. It's good to know if government is pushing for OCI, really positive. Stephen, I've asked a few people to tell me what's happening. I've not heard anything from my government sources. What's the salary of top tier grassroots coach, and how many clubs in India can actually spend on it? Pranjal, it depends on which region you are. These are very generic questions. A coach in Bangalore will earn X times more than a coach in a Mizoram. Very simply said. When a coach in a top level coach in Mizoram will most probably earn less than a grassroots coach in Bangalore. Could be, right? So I can't quantify those figures. Will CR7 play in 2026 World Cup? Rhythm, at the moment, it looks like he's part of it, right? So he's part of the Portugal plans. He's playing Nations League, Portugal-Germany, in a few days in Munich. So 2 weeks on the 4th. So let's see what happens. Sir, an off-topic question. Indian film industry is suffering worst time with worst content, cheap quality graphics to make movies. This is huge loss, needs to improve on public not liking our film. Ranlata, I have to honestly say, and joke, and I'll tell you a story from 2014 before I joined Mumbai City, and I was sitting with Ranbir Kapoor, and I said, I honestly rarely watch Bollywood, if not at all. And Ranbir liked it, I think. He joked about it. So therefore, I can't say anything. So that's something. Do you think Indian football taken for a ride on fake promise and illusion? By some people, certainly, Murali. That's one of our top problems. If we could get some decent OCIs and still put effort to grow the game in a holistic way, it's better for long term. Renal, holistic is nice to say, but I think the problem I feel people don't realize is if with OCIs we improve the level of the national teams, and I'm not seeing team, because a lot of people seem to only talk about the men's national team. But to me, if we can do it on a general basis, across, it'll it'll raise the standard, and then hopefully more money goes into Indian football in general, and that will hopefully raise the standard of Indian football. And that is something which a lot of people don't understand. So if we are competing at a higher level, it is. What gives you more energy interacting with fans rather than big several legend player? Morally, see, for me, I do this with you guys because it is fun for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it so regularly as I do. On the other side, I also like to meet people, and it doesn't have to be a celebrity. But see, for me, let's say if I say Indian football, a Baichung Bhutia, Randy Singh, or a Sunil Chetri, or an IM Vision, they're like friends, right? They are not, for me, they're not legends or celebrities. They're friends. I treat them like friends, right? I remember final of the SAF Cup in 2023 in Bangalore. I came in and a certain IM Vision came around the corner and said, bye, ajao. And, he hugged me and all that stuff. So we know each other. So therefore, for me, those are different things. But I'm not someone, goes on that, I'm overawed in meeting celebrities. It's like when I'm sitting in front of a Ranbir Kapoor before I joined Mumbai City. Yeah, I treated Ranbir like a normal human being. Well, now OCI news are just rumors, no concrete facts. Stephen, it looks like it at the moment that someone has put it out, and it seems to happen on an irregular basis, right? Every 3, 4, 5, 6 months, someone seems to put out something on OCIs, be it the AIFF themselves, or now in this case, the government of India, or someone close to the government of India. No, I meant best grassroots coach in the world. Pranchal, you will not believe it or not, but most of the grassroots top coaches in the world are actually part-timers. They actually have a job, so it's not about the money. I was telling yesterday that in large parts of the world, Olympic athletes don't get paid, right? They have a job and they do sports on the side, and that's something as well with grassroots coaches. How important should be these grassroots leagues to be properly structured? In Kerala, random teams come up and play, then go. There isn't a holistic way approach of it. There are 2 or 3 ways of looking at it. On one side, it is important to play some sort of competition or tournament or leagues or whatever. So therefore, these random teams playing random competitions might not be the worst thing. But if the structure isn't there, which is the case, then what do you want to do? So that's also a thing. So have you met any Indian famous world footballers? Shwanlata, yes. I mean, just mentioned, Randy Singh is one of my best friends. Knowing Baichung, Sunil, Ambijan, you named a lot. Jangte. World famous footballers I've met as well. I've used to work at Bayern Munich, so yeah, that's the point. Can we say the country which dominates certain sports is strong grassroots except Africa? No. Doesn't have to have strong grassroots. Morally, that's no. Hey Deep, long time. Yes, welcome back to the channel. Good to see you. Does this have football grassroots like Ajax? No, it doesn't. And see, you're comparing a club in Ajax. You're comparing an institution like Aspire with a country, right? So therefore, don't. There are 3 different things: a club, a bigger institution. So therefore, and the US is a country. Shouldn't that make getting best coaches easy? Just pay them money. No, Pranjal. See, this is a very Indian approach to a much bigger problem. These coaches are not doing it for money. Some of them are hoping to become full-time coaches down the road. But why would they leave a Germany or a Spain or an England or a France or an Italy, Netherlands, Belgium, whatever you want to, let's say Western Europe, and go to India if you offer them money, right? Because if you go to India, you might make a career in football over there, but you're never going to be able to have a chance to do stuff in Europe, right? So Oscar Bruzon is an example. Oscar used to work in the academy of Celta Vigo, a La Liga club. Came to India to work for an academy, worked at Sporting Club. We got him into Mumbai City for a certain period of time. Mumbai FC, then he went to Bangladesh, and now he's come to East Bengal. Is he going to go back to Spain? That road is very difficult. So these are certain realities that if we like it or not, we have to accept. And that makes it very, very, very difficult, very, very tricky. Sam Kerr, Chelsea FC player, father Roger Kerr was born in Kolkata. Stephen, yeah. Sam's dad is an Anglo-Indian Born and brought up. She's born and brought up in Australia. Plays, of course, for Australia. One of the greats. You just think striker like Sam Kerr playing for India. Talking about the Asian Cup wouldn't be a problem. We most probably would be playing World Cup, right? With the quality that she has as a player and also as an overall leader. So I live in Varanasi, my hometown, world oldest city. I'm around 71 years old and struggled a lot making a house because of financial issue. But today I'm very happy, but still garbage problems are there. Great to hear. I hope I'm reading your age as 71 correctly. So good to see that you're trying to follow Indian football. You will have seen a lot, you know. Yeah, but we've discussed this thing about garbage and other things in civic sense in India. It is, you know, Roshan also, for example, lives here in Germany, will understand that. It's a different kind of problem when we talk about India. I remember Aiko Shatori told this once. If you work as a coach in a country like India, you're out of European market. Yes, Roshan, you are. Very, very right. You rarely have a situation like a Des Buckingham working at a Mumbai City and getting an offer from his hometown club like Oxford United in the championship. Rarely happens. That's why he took it up. But normally, if you are in Asia, you're going to be a journeyman in Asia. You will not be able to come back. And therefore, if you work at youth level in Asia, it's going to be even more difficult to get back into Europe. And now it's a personal question. You can choose not to answer. Do you have kids anymore playing football? Stephen, I don't have any kids at all. So therefore, this question doesn't arise. So no, I don't have kids. Is Coach Brad one of the brains in the system? He gives perfect solution to things which can be used by Indian footy for betterment. You think is him making it into thing? Renal, yes. People like him, people like Brad, people like Richard Hood are great, right? In that way. But they alone cannot do this. The system needs to be stronger, you know. So to me, that's the point. We have some good, great minds in the system. Are they always in the middle of the discussion? No, they aren't. But for me, you know, we shouldn't forget that we have these kind of people, great brains, great people to push things, and we just have to work on and on and on and on, hope that things go in the right direction. Recent news in my home state, Jharkhand CSR conclave is to be organized where sports is assumed the main project for CSR. Let's see what happens. Good news. Anand, the question is, does it stay at a let's talk about it, let's discuss about it, let's sign maybe some MOUs or something of the sort, or is something concrete coming out of it? Is work being done? That's my problem with a lot of these things, that nothing happens. Do you think this OCI move somewhat correlated to India's Olympic bid? We're ashamed if we don't end up in top 10 countries as a host nation in 2036. Deep, I think it could be related to that, yes, on one side. But the problem is, if India wants to be a top 10 nation, let's say in 2036, we are now in May 2025. So we're a little over 11 years away from let's say an August Summer Olympics in 2036, right? Which itself is a problem because August, India, monsoons and all that, again, different conversation. If India is wanting to host in 2036 and wants a decent outcome in regard to what it can achieve at the Olympics, we need to have the players at the age of what? 11 to 16 preparing for those Olympics, right? Because an 11-year-old would be 22 A 16-year-old will be 27. So the whole youth, grassroots and youth program should be geared up to that. That theoretically a 6, 7-year-old starts now, could be an Olympian at 17, 18. Is that happening? No. The OCI could help in certain sports. Football would be one of the biggest beneficiaries if OCIs are allowed. Is it being done? Is it being seriously talked about? That is the question that we need to ask the government of India. And I have seen no concrete steps or changes that are needed to enable players of Indian origin to represent India. And this is something, India needs to get its priority right. I see, for example, I spoke yesterday with someone here in Germany that Germany is preparing a bid for 2036. But Germany is not only preparing a bid for 2036, but if Germany is going to bid, they'll bid for 2036, they'll bid for 2040, and they'll bid for 2044. So it's not going to be a one-off that you're bidding and hoping you're going to get it. Germany is working towards, if you don't get 2036, you've created a framework to be hosting Olympics. Interesting, for example, is here in Germany, Munich wants to bid. Berlin wants to bid. Of North Rhine-Westphalia is considering a bid. About the Munich bid, very interestingly, one of the biggest skiing athletes of the last few years, Florian Neuwirth, has come forward and says, Thomas Müller should be heading the Munich bid for a Munich Olympics, right? So they're already thinking who could be the right person to push the agenda in the right direction. So therefore, for us to talk about 2036, I don't see the work being done that needs to be done. There needs to be a special body created by the government, outside of the government, outside of the Indian Olympic Association or the state associations, an expert body who is actually going to push India's bid for the Olympics and say, listen, guys, we're going to bid for 2036, but if we're bidding, we're also going to be prepared for 2040 and 2044. That would be the way forward. But I don't see that happening. What major problem do you see government handling football or general in sports? Murali, they should not be handling sports. The sports ministry should just be there to aid sports. That is, I think, the thing that I would like to see. Any reason Tata Football Academy is not producing good players like 20 years ago? Stephen, I think the big problem of TFA or generally of Indian football over the last few years has now been that we've gone for mass rather than class, right? So if we look at 20 years ago, we had the Tata Football Academy, and you had some scattered academies here and there around India who were trying to produce players. Yeah, you had the Sale Academy in Bokaro, you had some academies in the Northeast, you had something in Kerala, in Goa, Sesa Football Academy, for example. So you had something. Now you have many more academies, football schools, clubs. So the Tata Football Academy used to be 2 decades ago indirectly the national center of excellence at the time. So therefore that difference has happened since then to now. So yeah, that's where we are. And therefore now Tata Football Academy brings out players once in a while, Nikhil Barla and whoever comes through the system, but they're not the AIFF center of excellence, so to say. Steven says coaches and parents play a crucial role in helping young athletes develop mental toughness by normalizing failure and teaching coping strategies. And is this missing in India? 100%. Because if you look at our Indian educational system, you're not allowed to fail. If you fail, how many? I mean, I read once in a while around examination time that kids fail and then they commit suicide. So mental health, I know friends of mine work on this. It's a huge topic, right? And failure, as you say, is part and parcel of life, of sports, of everything. You know, we look down by other nations when it comes to sports. India, yeah, well, of course. Most probably not by the cricketers, most probably not by the hockey players, but in most other sports, yes. And sadly, deservingly. We don't have any argument against it. Olympics 2036 in Berlin would have an historic element in its 100 years after Olympics in Nazi time. Yeah, Roshan, and I think that's the question, right? That's the question for Germany to, and that's what I've said, what I say, that if Germany is bidding for 2036 and whoever else is bidding, there is a historical side to things. It's like FIFA having to integrate Argentina, Colombia, and Uruguay as co-hosts of 2030 because the first World Cup happened in that part of the world in South America. And from an IOC standpoint, if Germany is bidding, it doesn't have to be Berlin. It could be Munich. It could be North Rhine-Westphalia. It could be someone else, a Hamburg or something. I would think that Germany is going to get it because there is a historical connotation to it. Therefore, for me, India, people talk in India about 2036, but to me, India needs to prepare a bid for 2036, 2040, 2044 if India is smart. And hey, India, if you want someone, yeah, that can be discussed. And Deep, you might find this funny, but this is not funny. And that's not, I can tell you, looking at things will not happen. And this is not, and this is something, spoke about in the last 2-3 days about these kind of things, right? Understanding what is politically correct, what is potentially connotation of racism, other things, very difficult. Any instance international player complained about facilities and accommodation in India, especially in ISL or ACL stages? Traveling is always India show international. I don't think, and I don't remember in ISL. We've had it in other sports. I think wasn't it badminton or something earlier this year about pollution and other things? That happens, but I don't know in football. I've not heard. But there will be surely internally players have complained about someone or the other will have made a complaint about traveling. But failure for a long time period break your hope and confidence. See, failure is part of life, Murali. If you want it or not, failure is something which you have to accept. And if you read about successful people in life or when you hear them talk, they will say that, and I also say that from myself, I've learned more in losses and mistakes than I've learned in success. Because when you're successful, you think most of the things or everything is right. You don't realize that, oh, listen, this, that went wrong. So therefore, these are realities of life, which makes it very complex on one side. That's how it is, right? The problem is Indians don't take Sports, seriously, it's the lack of sports culture. Yeah. See, you have a point, because look at the whole Olympic discussion, right, of hosting 2036 without knowing the realities of what's happening in the rest of the world, right? That's one thing. Sports as a culture needs to grow, needs to be embedded, but that needs to be embedded in schools, right? That is where we need a sporting culture. And that's that's something which which needs to change if India wants to really grow as a sporting nation. That's, I think, a big challenge. As India hockey achieved milestone hockey, a long way to go, but missing the goal. Listen, Murali, we've had this discussion about hockey, and then you ask also beating what surprised. India's done very well to move back into the top teams of the world in hockey. But yeah, is it, if you don't win a gold or if you don't win a World Cup, it's going to be difficult to be saying, I don't know, we're the best in the world, right? That's going to be difficult. So that's a reality that we have to accept. Lack of land available in India, especially in school. Murali, I've heard this, that lack of land is an issue, but others tell me, if I see some schools, even in rural parts of India, it doesn't have to be a problem. You can work around it. And therefore, to me, I always say it is a problem on one side, but you can work around it. And even with limited space, if you want to do sports, if you want to allow sports to happen, you can do that in schools, right? So therefore, it's not always that I need a full-size football pitch, football ground, hockey, cricket, whatever. You can do other sports as well. So that is, I think, a very, very important thing. Be pragmatic in your approach of what you offer to the kids in sports. Sorry. Quick reminder, 1 hour and 12 minutes plus. If you're liking the conversation, please leave a like. 22 likes so far. Thanks a lot. Subscribe to the channel and share this live, share other videos, let people learn, and thank you for following. And those who might be new to the channel, if you're listening in this live or even later on, do subscribe to arunfoot. We're 2,564. Let's try and grow the community, and as always, thank you very much for your support. And let's try and work on that. Why few states dominate football like Manipur? Mural, because they are allowing talent to come up and grow. Manipur, Mizoram is doing it a lot. What other states could do it? I take as an example, let's say Bengal. They're not doing it, right? So therefore, these are some realities of you need to do the work, and Bengal doesn't do the work with all the capabilities that Bengal football potentially has, right? And we're celebrating a Santosh Trophy win. That's nice. Yeah. Again, that's also a reality. When we can see OCI players in Indian jersey. Vipul, after the government has done its homework, right? To me, that's a reality. To me, that's going to be the question, right? If you, I don't know if you've seen it, but I always say, done a couple of videos. Video 875, how can OCI cardholders play for India, or 872, Government of India looking at OCI inclusion in Indian sports. I think I try and explain those points very well. Have a look at it, and maybe that gives a little insight on how I see the things and what needs to be done. It's talking about it is nice. Action is needed from the government on these points. Swimming is another sport we're nowhere in picture. Okay, Murali. We can't give lack of land excuses. Countries which are in middle of the war still doing better in football. Sorry, being so blunt. Stephen, you're right. We in India, we've also gone to the level of, we find 15, 20, 30 reasons of saying, oh, this is not good, that is not good. And therefore, we are unable to do this, we are unable to do that. Again, India has its own set of problems, 100%. But there is a world out there where you have problems left, right, and center, and they're still able to produce talent in sports. Let's not talk about just about football. We can generalize it. So therefore, that's a reality. Why few Asian teams like Japan, Korea compete top team in Europe, even Australia struggle against them? Why, I don't know. Well, Australia has competed in the past. They're not at this moment, but they did compete with parts of the world. Why they're not? Japan and Korea are, yeah. Bosnia, where do you see them in football world? I remember them playing in 2014 World Cup. Morally, Bosnia brings out a lot of talent. You saw them 2014 World Cup. Yeah, there were some very, very good players in that squad. But the qualifiers in Europe are tough, and Bosnia sometimes gets into tough groups, and that's why it doesn't qualify for bigger competitions. Iran beating Wales in World Cup is a surprise. Yes, of course. Iran beating Wales is a big thing, Murali. If you look at it from a sporting standpoint, that's a big, 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 big upset in sports. And that's something which we need to keep in mind, and that these kind of upsets happen in sports. And and therefore I say that's a big, big surprise if Iran can beat a national team like Wales. That's a big, big thing in sports. Right, 1 hour, 70 minutes. Seem to have tried to answer most of your question. Tonight, as I say, watch the older videos, right? Do spread them around. Some of the interesting stuff. Even 864, I think, was a nice video where my advice and suggestion to improve the AIFF. So so this is something. Can we see Hungary becoming footballing power again? Even in theory, yes. In theory, surely Hungary could become a footballing power again. I think they've done better in the last 5-6 years than they've done over the last 20, 30, 40 years. Szoboszlai most probably is the standout player of the current generation. Now with Liverpool, formerly with RB Leipzig. So yes, so surely that is factually right, and one has to see how far could they go. But Hungary, has the potential to become better, but can they be a world powerhouse? At the moment, looks difficult. They would need 3, 4, or 5 players, I think, of a certain level to be able to make that push. Iron Army, show us power. Thanks a lot, Murali. Can you do podcast? Murali, I'm doing something else than a podcast, and this is this video cast or whatever we want to do it in our interactive sessions. My short videos are like a podcast on my own, so to say. So that's the version that I've picked. And yeah, one thing that interactive fans gives you, which you won't get talking to big person. I'd say open and honest interactions with you guys, which I try to do from my side, right? I try to be as honest, as direct as I can, and with the things that we talk about and discuss. And it is different with so-called big persons. For you, as I told you, for me, big person is not something which I bother about. Who is who is not who. I interact with the people very normally, but yeah, these kind of, I like these interactions. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. Hey Kumar, welcome back. So therefore, That is something, Murali, which I feel is something which why I enjoy this. Now, who will win tonight? Tottenham versus Man U. Kumar, we discussed it early on. To me, to predict who's going to win tonight is going to be one of the toughest questions of all, because if you look at it from a footballing perspective, Man United can have won titles. Have turned around matches. The toughest one was of the 1999 Champions League final against Bayern Munich. On the other side, we've got Tottenham, who are chokers, be it the Premier League, Champions League, other finals. So if it would go by script, people would most probably say Man United. Others will then say, oh, no, I think that Tottenham have a chance. So therefore, it's a 50-50 game. I wouldn't be able to tell you who's going to be better tonight. It's going to be very, very difficult to say that. Off-topic question: have you thought in your childhood that you would have career in football sports? No. I would have loved to have become a football player, a pro, but I would have never thought that what I've been doing now for 26, 27 years and in football, in sports, I would be doing. No, never. What are the topics you talk with friends related to sports or any other topics? Stephen, with friends, you talk about everything, anything. You talk about, sports, football, of course, is a conversation. Sports in general is a conversation. Politics is a conversation. Relationships, girlfriends, wives are topics. Children, if people have children, normal conversations that you have, right? You talk about music, films, streamings, whatever. Can be anything. Are India good in the boxing world? Where you rate India? Morally, for that, I don't know enough about the boxing world, and I don't know about India standing in the boxing world. I have no clue. India's had pros here or there, but does India have a standing in the boxing world? I wouldn't know. Do you think patterns are hard to break, especially muscle memory? Sometimes it can be, sometimes it's not. I think if you want to change things, you can, but you have to work hard for it. And this is the question: is are players, are athletes willing to do what is needed? Are they willing to walk, run that extra mile to be able to be successful? That's going to be the question. And there, I think, so therefore, for me, difficult to say if we are going to be able to what we think we want to do, or if we could change things, right? That's the challenge that we face ourselves. Do you think Tottenham curse will be broken by them and become new dawn for China titles in continental stage? Kumar, for Tottenham, I mean, Harry Kane has now broken his curse. Others have broken curses, like Newcastle winning a title in 70 years. Crystal Palace won their first ever title. Look at Bologna beating AC Milan. In the German Cup on Saturday, we've got Stuttgart versus Arminia Bielefeld. So there are a lot of these subplots here and there. So to me, that's the interesting one. And challenging for titles. Listen, if they're going to win the Europa League and they're going to play Champions League next season, I don't see Tottenham being a challenger in the Champions League next year. Tottenham need to sort themselves out in the league. I mean, they both Tottenham and Man United were pathetic. If the bottom three were not as weak as they were, those two could have gotten relegated. Just think about it. It's insane. So therefore, that's the level of these two teams. Florian Wirtz is linked with Liverpool. Bayern is pulled out of the race to sign him. No, Stephen. As far as I've heard, Bayern are the front runners. Florian Wirtz supposed to be is traveling to Munich this week. Um, Liverpool and Man City. He visited the two clubs last week. So therefore, Real Madrid supposedly has joined now the bandwagon because of Xabi Alonso joining Real Madrid, and Xabi Alonso, of course, being his coach at Bayer Leverkusen. So to me, if you ask me, I would like to see him at Bayern. I mean, Florian Wirtz, Jamal Musiala together, Vuziala, as they call them here in Germany. Yeah, would be nice. Do your friends get surprised when you say about India and sports, especially certain sports? We're good in hockey. How your friends view India? Murali, do we talk about Indian sports? I talk to my Indian origin friends about sports, so they know. I don't need to tell them something. And about hockey, the world doesn't care much about hockey, to be very honest. Vidal of Chile are good. How different of defensive midfielders compared to Casemiro? Totally different, you know. Because Arturo Vidal is more of an aggressive destroyer. Rodri is a different one. Rodri breaks the game but also builds the game. Rodri has got that special touch. Casemiro at times most probably was another Vidal type of player, but Rodri to me, different class, different quality. A joy to watch that kind of a player, to be very, very honest. Can we say we have good defender present compared to Rennery time? Murali, these comparisons, I've said this multiple times, very, very difficult. So to me, anytime who will we have? Mahesh Kohli, Deepak Mondal, Goramangi, Anwar Ali, the older Anwar Ali. Who do we have today? We have, for the last few years, do we talk Sandesh? Sandesh even played with Grenadier at United Sikkim in their first season. Who else do we speak about? Do we speak about Raul Beke? And then the discussion gets a little tougher, right? So therefore, very difficult to compare. But now when people in India are not vigorous and vital because of too much studies and mobile addiction in younger ages, one of key drawbacks for youngsters in sports curriculum. See, the mobile thing is a global phenomenon. I don't think it's an Indian thing. I think kids today grow up differently than I would have. All these technical gadgets didn't. I mean, when I was growing up, there was no internet. Just think about it. I jokingly used to tell my first ever girlfriend in school, I used to wait for you somewhere, and I couldn't contact you. And I was just waiting and standing because I didn't know when you were coming. Today, unthinkable. You would send a WhatsApp, listen, I'm 5 minutes late, or I'm coming this, I'm stuck in traffic. The times have changed completely. So this mobile addiction, can be good, can be bad. Mostly it is most probably bad. You see, for example, in Scandinavia, they're already trying to keep mobile phones out of classrooms. And studies, too much studies. I think wrong studies as well. Pressure and sports, the focus isn't there. No, Kumar, that's the biggest focus. Is sports becomes part of your curriculum, but it's not something special or extra, and that I think is the challenge for sports. City has put out statements that they're pulling out of words. Stephen, yes. So they have. Liverpool supposedly is also not too interested because and Liverpool supposedly is not offering enough. And again, Real Madrid might join in. Bayern is the front runner, but let's see if Liverpool is willing, wants to sell the player to Bayern Munich. I think that's the big question now. Good olden days without internet. Yes, Stephen, those were the days. I always have this vague thought, if you had to compare current state, talent, stamina of Indian football players, league play style, would ISL teams national stand chance against early or late 90s Premier League? No, I don't think so. Because the footballing talent at that level is still higher than what we have had or have. So therefore, I think that comparison doesn't stand a chance. That's the problem. I think I would think that we would have if we say that players are of a certain level, can they compete with players in the old days? Even though I remember Franz Beckenbauer used to tell me a joke, or not me, to other people, and I was also there, or told us, I should rather say, that he thought that they played walking football in the 70s. So therefore, from that perspective, it's very, very difficult opinion, and I don't think it's comparable. And the quality of football played in those days still would be higher. So therefore, I don't think, yeah. I remember my girlfriend giving missed calls on landline. Oh yeah, also missed calls on mobile phones, right? Because then you're not charged, right? So knowing, okay, I'm leaving now and all that kind of stuff. That came later on. That came at university time. So therefore, life has come a long way. I think life was different. It was maybe a simpler. So therefore, I think that's going to be an interesting one to see how. I mean, technology is part of our lives. Look at how AI is but becoming part of our lives, right? So therefore, life is changing quickly, and look at the influence of sports science on sports. Therefore, it's going to be interesting to see. Who should City replace Kevin De Bruyne with? Oh, yeah, good question. Are you looking at an external solution? Are you looking at an internal solution? Internal solution to me could be somebody like Omar Mamouche. If they trust Omar Mamouche to build him more, even though of course he's seen just as a pure out and out attacking player, I think Omar Mamouche could be a very interesting option for City to allow to grow. McAtee maybe as well. So it's interesting to see how City under Pep rebuilt, and yeah, it'll be very, very interesting to see. Very, very interesting to see, in my opinion, how Man City do that, right? When I was studying in school, most of society around me made in the liberal impression that made me and others depreciate the sports, which is trivial. Yeah. That is society in India, I guess. Keeps White adequate. Not seen enough of him to be able to judge him really. That if he can be a Kevin De Bruyne, he's done well at Nottingham, but City is a different beast. If you given time machine to meet certain person, which would you like to revisit by changing time? Oh, really? Which time? Boy, there's a lot of historical events, which are sporting events or history. I don't know. I couldn't tell you one event per se. Wirtz overpriced right now? I don't think so. I think if you look at, I think Wirtz doesn't get the appreciation I think that he should for the talent that he has. I think that's the problem of some of the German talent that we possess at the moment. So let's see. Do you think Xabi Alonso to Real Madrid is too early? Will he succeed? I guess Ryan is saying. I don't think so. Do you think it's too early for Xabi Alonso to join Real Madrid? Can he handle pressure and manage the dressing room? Shan, if I look at Xabi Alonso, and I've had a few interactions with him at Bayern Munich in the past. And to me, he's a player who's played at Liverpool, at Real Madrid, and at Bayern Munich. Under big managers, influence from Pep, influence from Mourinho. If there's someone who can manage a dressing room, it's him. And if you see the way he's systematically worked his way up, he was at Real Sociedad, and then only came to Bayer Leverkusen, the way he's built Bayer Leverkusen. I think that dressing room, if players don't do what he wants, players will be gone. And I think that is what Florentino Perez will support him to make necessary changes. So therefore, let's see. Why not Foden? Because he's not stepped up, right? To me, I think Foden. I don't know. Bruno Guimaraes is good option opinion for not for me, and I agree with EF. Guimaraes is a defensive midfielder, not the profile of Kevin Von. Yeah, so I agree on that. I think City will wait for Musiala's contract ends next year. No, he's extended his contract with Bayern to 2030. So Jamal Musiala is not on the market next year. Bayern Munich wants to play the. Bayern Munich wants to play with. Anytime soon. So if you ask me, that's not happening. Now I've been reading books and practicing my English writing, reading, speaking skills for a few months, which is fundamental. Could you tell assessment from your side? See, in this way, Kumar, very difficult. I'm not a teacher. I can't assess stuff again. Yeah, I think difficult. But if you're doing it good, use online software, practice language, grammar, speaking. All of that helps. Certainly helps. City are looking for Olmo from English media sources. Yeah, Dani Olmo could be on the market. Barca having still problems in regard to their finances, so therefore they might be forced to sell Dani Olmo. And City were in the market last year also for Dani Olmo, so yeah, could be a very viable option for Manchester City to bring in Dani Olmo. Interesting player, of course, Croatian origin, but brought up in Barcelona. Spent time at Dinamo Zagreb and then at RB Leipzig, so knows, so to say, the Barca way, and that helps, I guess, at City as well with Pep around. Would not be the worst, but again, he's a number 10. It could be interesting. I mean, it could be interesting to see Olmo, Mamouche, Haaland, and then someone else in that attacking unit. Could be a potent combo. Right, 1 hour 38 minutes. Quick reminder, those of you who are liking the conversation are still here or maybe watching it afterwards, do leave a like behind. 24, share it with other people to join in our conversations. Thanks for that as always. And and if you are new, subscribe to the channel. 2,564 people now. Let's keep on growing the community. And if you join in, you're watching, join the lives, ask your questions. I try and answer everybody's questions. And do watch the short videos, as I like to say as well. Did something today on Rashad Musa as under 23 India coach yesterday about training. Before that, about Arunachal Pradesh fans who impressed me. OCI, Anjali not coming to Kerala. Do watch those videos, spread those videos. And as always, thank you very much. What roles can one get in football post-engineering degree? It depends on what kind of practical knowledge you have in football. If you don't have any practical knowledge, then with your degree, there's nothing. Yeah. So that would be my honest advice to you. Well, now you said English is advantage for Indian, but disadvantage also because technical subjects should be taught in mother tongue in India. So many nation teachers in their mother tongue, even Germany. Kumar, the problem is in a country of the size of India. What's your mother tongue? Would you have, I don't know, universities with 20, 25 languages? So then you So someone from Delhi can't go to Mumbai, from Mumbai can't go to Bangalore, you can't go to Chennai, you can't go to Kolkata, you can't go here, you can't go there. English is I think that India has lost the plot in the last 2-3 decades on that front. To that regionalization in regard to language might be a nice thing to do, but I think the focus what is India's strong point also? Why have Indians gone abroad? Because Indians were able to speak English. The Chinese have learned that massively over the last 2 decades. So this is a bonus that India had, and India, to me, seems to have lost that bonus quite a bit, because you've got, this whole Hindi debate, regional language debate has not helped India. Pedro Musiala, Stephen Musiala all the way. Do you think Pep is shackling Holland and Mamouche by not speeding up the play and unleashing the ball to them early? AIFF, I think the whole City season was a mess from the start, especially the injury to Rodri. I'd like to see how if Rodri comes back, that changes the dynamics of Manchester City. I think that the situation at City changes dramatically if Rodri is somewhat fit and comes back, because Rodri is that difference player that City have had, and Rodri would be the guy to speed up the play. I think Guardiola has still not overcome the loss of Rodri. All the politicians talk about Hindi as medium of education. All their kids study abroad. And that is also something, right, which talks about double standards and hypocrisy, right? So therefore, English is the language. Do you think Rodri can just be the same guy post his injury? AIFF, the guy is very, very intelligent. He's very, very smart. If he somewhat is fit physically to do what he's capable of, I think Rodri will come back and be an influence that he was before. They won the Spain, as talented as they are, but Rodri was the key factor why Spain won the Euros last year, in my opinion. And City, of course, the treble. So therefore, he is that kind of a player. He still has age on his side. If he was, let's say, 31, 32, 33, I would have had a different point, but he still is a little younger. So therefore, I would hope comes back and shows his class and is able to take the City team to a level, and and they can be successful. So I hope yes. Right. Nearly 1 hour and 43 minutes of this live. Take Steven's question. What kind of football do you like? Is it Inter way of football or Barca way of football this year? Steven, Barca. Barca, to some extent, also with what they can do when they go attacking. Even Bayern Munich in some of the matches were really, really good in the attacking. Inter's been smart, but again, if we talk about Inter style for its Barca games, right? So suddenly they were scoring goals, conceding. Therefore, it doesn't always have to be ultra defensive. So therefore, from that perspective, yeah, Barca all the way. Right. Once more, reminder, like, share this video if you like it. I also say we've had some great discussions over the last few months, a couple of years on this. Watch some of the older ones as well. Yeah, there's some interesting one. Maybe double speed, listen to it. I think we've had some very interesting discussions on this channel, on football, on some other stuff as well, but mainly on football, so do that. I take this as a last question for today. Should Yamal be played less and rest him a little more, where he may get overused? AIFF, at the moment, I think it's okay. If I think Hansi Flick is smart enough. Look at how Hansi Flick brought up Jamal Musiala. He was also around that age at the time, 17, when he started playing. Jamal is on a very high level. So therefore, I think Flick will look into it. I think Spain is also a factor. And then let's hope he stays fit, because generational talent, another Barcelona generational talent. Right. Nearly 1 hour, 45 minutes, coming to an end. Good night, AIFF. Good night to you. Good night to everybody else. As I say, like, share, and subscribe Arunfoot here on YouTube. Visit my other social medias, arunfoot.com, and I'll be back most probably early next week. I'm a little busy over the next 3-4 days. Even today, I took a little bit time out. I was able to do this, and I will speak to you very, very soon. Watch the short videos, as I say. Support Arunfoot, and it's me, Manolo, signing off. Good night, everyone.